Hey guys, good morning and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna do the trends that died in 2025 because I honestly think that 2025 was one of the craziest years when it comes to fashion, very specifically the trends that were thriving throughout the year. I feel like trends were going way too fast. Everything was trendy at the same time and they would come and go in basically months. And I think the reason is quite obvious, and that is social media. It has made fashion move into cycles that are way too fast for anyone to realistically be able to catch up. We don't have like one clear trend for the season. We have 10 micro trends, some of them ridiculous, some of them a little bit more normal, and they just keep changing all the time. So when you finally catch up with one, it is kind of already over. And I think that is why it's so important to know yourself, to know your style, to know what you like, what suits you, what makes you happy. And perhaps you see a trend and you really like it and it resonates with you, you can definitely implement that in your life. Sometimes we just need to sit down and reflect if we're just being spammed with something, and maybe that's why we're liking it more and more, because you see everyone around you basically liking, buying and using that specific thing, but it may not be for you. So with that said, today I wanted to make a video about the biggest trends of 2025. That this is not my opinion, this is just the research and the numbers that I did, and we're gonna talk about it, but that they are dead. And I will give you my opinions about the trends that died, if I like them still or not, and the trends that are coming for 2026. But with all of that, please just take it with a grain of salt. If you love something, just because it is out of style doesn't really mean anything. So you do you. I definitely do and wear a lot of things that are not supposed to be trendy anymore, and I couldn't care less. I just love fashion and I love clothes and bags and jewelry so much that I just try to follow the things that I really like. Okay, for the first trend, I'm gonna go with something that is a bit personal, because I was someone who would only wear sneakers for years and years and years and years, and I'm gonna show you many pictures of basically me wearing any type of outfit, white sneakers or colorful sneakers. And during 2025, Sambas, Gazelles were a hit, especially in these like very colorful combinations. They were the shoe to wear. Like, we decided in 2025 that we were not going to wear chunky sneakers anymore. Those were also left behind. However, continuing to 2026, I feel like we're just kind of leaving sneakers more to sports or activities that need sneakers. And what I've been seeing just overall is going into more refined type of shoes. So we're talking about Mary Janes, slingbacks, pumps, basically lower heels, but mainly anything that adds style. So this is pointed toe. And I was very much against this because I have a closet full of heels that I never ever wear because they are uncomfortable, because you cannot really walk long distances with them, and I find them to be very inconvenient. However, I still do love the look. So as someone who went from only wearing sneakers to now transitioning to ballerinas, to now wanting to sometimes use comfortable, beautiful short heels, I've just been looking up and down to where I can find like shoes that are gonna be beautiful, comfortable, and give me basically that look. So I actually found this brand that is called COSY Island, and I actually ordered quite a few pair of shoes that I wanted to show you. As I said, you will hardly find me wearing heels. So when I find a brand or a style that really fits me, that I find comfortable, that I think I'm gonna use and enjoy a lot, I tend to find many styles and stick to that. I wear the same things over and over and over again. And the whole thing about COSY Island is style without compromising comfort, which is really important for me, specifically if I'm gonna go with shoes that are like these ones. So let me show you the first pair. This is their packaging, and they have what they call their pain-free technology, which I was really curious about. These are the gray slide in the color apricot. I got them in size 5. So the fabric is meant to be seamless and not rub against anything. Plus on the inside, you can see here the lines. This is a cushion, and when I say that it's a cushion, is that it's super comfortable, so you can wear them pretty much all day long. And I went for really small heel because I think this elevates the outfit already so much. Plus the fact that they're so comfy, but they do have the pointed toe that I was definitely looking for. These ones, I got them to be like my neutral. They're going to go with pretty much anything. And they have this thing that is called honeycomb gel cell. It basically absorbs the shock, and every single pair has a cushioned insole, so all of them are going to be super comfortable. And it's actually made of eco-friendly materials, including recycled plastic. It is super breathable, super comfortable, and molds onto your feet. Now these ones, I am obsessed with them. I think they're probably the ones that I'm going to use the most. They're super stylish, and I think they're going to go perfect from day to night. And I love the knot that they have. And they are called the Bell Knot, and I got them in this like coffee color. And as you can see, all of them have a rubber sole, which is going to be great because I'm always slipping. And all of the heels have like this flare that is going to be great for stability, and it also has rubber. But yeah, this one so far I think will have to be my favorite. Now we know that I love pastels, so I saw that they had these stunning pink ones, but of course I had to get the blue also. These are called the Everlash Bow Knot Pointed Toe Heeled Slingbags. So these are basically slingbacks, and they have this beautiful bow right here. But as you can see, all of the insoles on the shoes are super cushioned. They're so comfortable, and also the slingback strap feels very secure. I wanted to get them in both colors because it is very hard for me to find shoes in my size. I knew that during summer I tend to gravitate towards these colors so much. If they had anything in like butter yellow, I would also be down for it. But these are just absolutely stunning. The bow is such a beautiful detail, and I just couldn't pick between both colors. And of course we had to get a white pair, and this one actually has like this little gold dots. These are called the Stella Dot Kitten Heeled Slingback. These are the shorter ones of them all, but they do have heels in pretty much every height that you're looking for. For these ones, I got recommended to size up, and I have to report that they fit great. These are size 6. They are like this beautiful cream color with gold dots. I wear a lot of white, and I wanted something that could elevate like those creamy outfits because, yeah, I don't know, I really want to enjoy playing a little bit more with shoes and being a little bit more out there when it comes to styling an outfit from day to night. The change of shoes is going to elevate it so much. But these are going to be perfect for work, for every day. I think they're just so comfortable and a great option. So I'll be linking all of them on the description box down below alongside the size that I picked, and they have free shipping over $89, and returns with them are super easy. So thank you so much to COSY Island for partnering with me, and I cannot wait to start styling them. I think we need to talk about Labubus because I feel like Labubus defined very well how fashion felt last year. Because how did we collectively all decide that a little gremlin that would come in different colors, that you couldn't even pick specifically the color that you wanted, that it was blind unboxings, was going to be the it thing of the entire year, and we were going to hang them from Birkins or even bags smaller than Birkins. So at some point the charms were even bigger than the bags itself. And I'm gonna be very honest with you guys, and I've talked about Labubus quite a lot in the past year. I was never a fan. I found them to be a little bit creepy, but like I can understand why people really like them, because for me, for example, I really love Disney, so some Winnie the Pooh key charms, if they were super trendy, I might go into it. But that's the thing, if that was the case, then maybe I would have just joined the fun, because at the end of the day, fashion is all about having fun. I personally did not like Labubus, and that's why I just decided not to go with it. But jokes aside, I feel like the Labubu trend was a little bit further than a trend. It felt like an obsession. It went very crazy for a bit. They were sold out everywhere. People were reselling them for crazy prices, even though these are just little dolls. And the secret that was just like a different color, it was just a whole thing. It was quite crazy. But I do feel like this was a clear sign that fashion is going into a more playful, chaotic style. Like, we're just having fun with it, and I'm really happy about it. So if you still like Labubus, if you like Labubus throughout the trend, I think then go for it. That's amazing that you can personalize your bag. Just add something that adds a little bit more joy to your day-to-day. However, I definitely don't see Labubus now as much as I used to. The trend definitely died, and now the people that really like them are the ones that are still using them. But back charms are still going to be very big for 2026, just like in a different way. I feel like we went really crazy in that sense, and now we're going to more like curated styles, and every single fashion house is coming with their own back charms, but a little bit more toned down. I think a great example are these ones that you can just add to your bags. They are from Elise and I really like them. This is like a more subtle but still fun way to add charms to your bag. Trend number 3 that has reportedly died is the old money aesthetic or the quiet luxury aesthetic. I don't really feel like it died, but it's evolving in a more interesting way, because for a good while it was very Sofia Ricci clean girl, very minimal neutrals, and yes, in my opinion, quiet luxury never really goes out of style because these are the basics and things that will always be relevant and it will always look good. However, I've been noticing for quite a while now that we are kind of like regressing into more maximalism, which I absolutely love. We're going back into older aesthetics, the 80s, the 90s, adding a little bit more drama, adding lace, adding gold, adding belts. And I think it's a little bit because everyone is kind of tired of looking the same. So like instead of just like a white t-shirt, a pair of jeans and a beige blazer, now people are pairing it with lace, with satin, with some suede. They are gonna add one belt, maybe 2 belts. Corsets are a thing that are actually coming back. And we are even seeing so much animal print, and I love it because now I feel like everyone is just doing whatever they like and you're adding things from your own style because you can get to pick whatever you want that is your thing. Let's say that mine is lace, because it kind of is. And I'm just gonna try to add lace to every single outfit if I want to, and I don't really care. And can we just talk for a second about the haute couture week, because the outfits, like the dresses, I would have killed to be there and see all of those garments in person. Like Schiaparelli was insane, but I feel like we are going back into that like glorious fashion, gold and draping and sparkles. It makes me so happy. I'm actually someone who gravitates so much towards like anything super romantic, anything that looks like antique. I always say that I wish that we could just still wear on a daily basis the big fluffy dresses, but the things that we saw during Haute Couture Week was just mesmerizing. I just wish that we could just grab a coffee in the city with one of those gowns. And to me, this is just like a reminder that fashion is art. It's always supposed to be that. I feel like life can be so complicated in some ways that we cannot control, and if we can just put clothing that makes us happy, that makes us feel a certain way, then that's what we should be doing. Now this one also hits home for me, but the oversized boxy blazers that I loved and used like a uniform, and honestly I am okay with it. Like I will still keep them in my closet and I will use them from time to time, but I've been a little bit more towards different styles now. But the big oversized blazers from the Frankie shop, for example, that they were absolutely everything during 2024, 2025, 2023, so many years in a row. They were like the staple in your wardrobe. I absolutely love them, and again I feel like I don't really care if they're not that trendy anymore, but this is now evolving into a more sophisticated and feminine vibe. I think the blazers are just getting a little bit more intentional, like the Dior Bar Jacket. I feel like a lot of fashion brands are replicating like that silhouette, and I find it also to be super beautiful and I love it. These are clock shaped, sculpt volumes, the shoulders feel structured, the waist is also defined, and you could be wearing the simplest outfit underneath one of these blazers and I feel like you look so put together. And I think this gives tailoring in a non-sloppy way. Like you put on a blazer but it looks like you really tried, because the blazer is the outfit. This one I was actually quite shocked, but the more that I read and thought about it, I realized that it kind of makes sense. But people seem to be drifting away from the classic handbags from the fashion brands. So people have become a little bit less and less interested in the Chanel classic flap, in the Hermes Birkin, the Lady Dior, and just like the classics from every fashion house. I don't really think this was ever a trend. I feel like these bags are always going to be it bags. They're gonna be relevant, and I'm not planning on changing that because I am the first person that loves and adores these bags. But I do see a shift when it comes to people being a little bit more interested in different types of bags that are not necessarily those. And I feel like this comes out of saturation. Again, I think this is due to social media, because social media puts on your feed so much all the time. I have tried to limit my consumption of certain platforms like TikTok, and I am on Instagram, but I follow different types of accounts on Instagram because yes, you can get saturated over the same bag over and over again, over the same pair of shoes over and over again. So now people are looking for something that is a little bit more different, a little bit more fun, that I actually have found myself gravitating a little bit towards this direction when it comes to, for example, my wish list for this year. I now want a lot of colors, and I want crystals, and I want even an animal print bag. That's something that I never thought that I was going to ever say. But now my take on this is that I don't believe that we should buy these bags that are thousands and thousands of dollars because of trends or what you see on social media or what you don't see on social media. At the end of the day, what other people do doesn't really matter, but what you feel and the things that you like. So when you buy a bag, you buy it because it fits your lifestyle, it fits your stuff, you find it comfortable to carry, you like the way that it looks, and it makes you happy. So I honestly could not care less if I see a bag that I have every single day a million times on Instagram or on TikTok. However, I do understand why this is like a big factor for many people. Also, my suggestion would be like to be a little bit more intentional with the things that you consume on the internet, because at some point it starts to get repetitive and you feel like you have seen the same thing so many times, but that is how the algorithm works. So instead of chasing trends, my best advice would be to stay to silhouettes that you're gonna enjoy, that have good materials, in colors that you like and you're gonna wear, not just because it's the color of the season or of the year, means that it's something that you're gonna like along the lines. So just know what you like and stick to that. And if you want to try things from different trends and things that have been released, I'm always all for that. I've been a little bit more inclined into that in the past 2 years, but definitely I would take this one with a grain of salt. During 2025, cutouts made a really big comeback, and they're being swiped for lace, draping, mesh, kind of like soft skin versus hard skin. Again, what we're seeing a little bit now in fashion is that we're shifting from more modern cutouts that are like impressive dresses, for example, into a more romantic mesh, not necessarily covering yourself up, not at all, because some of them are still very showy, but with very thin lace or very delicate transparencies. There's a lot of ruffles and fluid shapes that are basically taking the place of the cutouts. That cutouts come and go. They were super big in 2012, for example. Everything eventually comes and goes, but I can definitely see it being replaced overall with this like massive romantic trend that we have going on. Outerwear and suiting is still huge, but it's shifting into a more poet energy. Okay, this one is really interesting because it's not like tailoring is going away. If anything, I feel like tailoring is becoming more and more important, but the energy around it is changing. As I stated before, we have been in this very strong masculine tailoring era for quite a few years now. Oversized coats, strong shoulders, oversized pants, suits, ties, very much borrowed from my husband, from my boyfriend energy, and that is still very much here. But what I think it happens next, so this is hints that we have been seeing a little bit, especially in Fashion Week, it's a shift into a more softer, feminine woman tailoring. Still very structured, still very chic, but a little bit more artistic and vintagey, I would say. Actually, on Pinterest, it's already been called poet core, which I found interesting. It's basically blazers, curated vintage pieces, satchel bags. So yeah, I thought that it was interesting to note that we're just like moving a little bit away from the more masculine silhouettes and drifting back into what I would say like Christian Dior era. Okay, so this one I'm actually not sure, but East-West style has been absolutely everywhere. It is the biggest bag trend that we've seen in quite a while, and it seems that it's going to slowly go away. I do feel like with this one, it's always going to be relevant because it is not really a trend, it's just like a silhouette of a bag. However, there's this feeling that it stopped being new. What brands were doing was grabbing their classic bags and then giving them the East-West style and then basically revamping them as something completely new, which was a massive hit. And I have to agree that many bags just look so much more elegant and they are absolutely beautiful. However, at some point it's been done so many times that I feel like they're just gonna start to gravitate towards something else. So I think the East-West style is going to start morphing into something newer, maybe a little bit slouchier, a little bit roomier, because so far it's a very structured silhouette when it comes to the bags, and maybe now it's going to adapt to the trends and go into different types of materials, being softer versions of the bag, adding little things here and there to make it a little bit more interesting to look at. The mob wife aesthetic, this one I actually really enjoyed seeing on social media. I never personally jumped on the trend because I just felt like it was a little bit too much and overwhelming, but the mob wife aesthetic was absolutely everything. It was very high glam, slightly aggressive luxury, I would say. Leopard print, fur, mostly faux fur of course, glossy hair, sharp sunglasses, and definitely I feel like faux fur jackets are having a moment right now, me included. I am all for it. And as much as I love the idea behind the trend, I definitely feel like it's toning down a little bit more, because if you overdo it, it can feel a little bit like a costume. So picking some aspects of this and implementing it in your outfit, I think that would be amazing. Like for example, you can up the coat with some jewelry pieces, or the hair, like the hairstyles are absolutely amazing. And I think it's going to translate to spring and summer a little bit more into I borrowed things from my grandma's closet type of vibe. I think that's the way that this trend is going to transition, and I am very excited to see how that goes. And the last trend is naked dressing, and by naked dressing I mean those micro shorts that were basically not even shorts. During 2025 we saw it in a way that it was basically mini tops, micro shorts, just clothing that was really bold. Miu Miu was the biggest example of all of this. On 2026 seems like it's going to be more about transparency and sheer fabrics, transparent layers, lace that you're gonna be able to kind of see through it. And I don't really mean walking around half naked, but being a little bit bolder in that sense. So I think it really makes sense with everything that we have been seeing, because I feel like lately in fashion we're having this push and pull between where one day is very masculine and the other day we have very delicate, soft. So these were the trends that died in 2025 and the things that we're probably going to be seeing throughout 2026. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I would love to hear you guys out in the comments, your opinions, anything that you think about it. Please let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys out. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and click the notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you're not done watching, I'm gonna leave you 2 videos right here in case you want to check them out. Thank you and see you on the next one. Bye.